Okay, so recently I've been messing with isometric stuff and sort of having that line up in different ways and having it move as a series of squares and acting in different ways. I think what I might just try doing is, I don't have way too many sheets of this cut right now, like maybe 16 or something. What I might just mess with doing is having some simple animations of some faces moving around or transitioning to a few different things. Some that might be more having animation smears, stuff like that. So you'll have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or something like that. So it's boom, boom. But just having sort of a start point and an end point, and just drawing and doing like 8 frames of something, and then having it sort of interact. That it functions kind of like how I've done phenakistoscopes in the past, those spinning items that rotate and create animation as one solid block, but just limiting the total number of frames and having it so you have like an effective motion of like this thing moving around a bunch of spots and returning, but you see this part moving to here and this part moving to here, so it ends up only being a total of 8 frames. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, it should once I start working on some stuff. Where is that over there? Yeah, it's there. My palette. So I think I'm just going to do this pretty freehand and work from there. So we're going to, let's make this 12 frames, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then have some extras. But plan is to use these guys. I'm just going to try and fill out the space a bit. And so, next step I'm going to do is make this a bit closer. Oh, this is taped down. I forgot I did that. You know what? That's fine. We'll zoom out just a tad. Okay, that's better. Now I need to get some ink. We'll start off over here. This is 01. And I'm just going to have this guy sort of sweep across. Oh, two. Might have grabbed the wrong file, but I can count to 12 again. I'm not concerned about that. And 3. Four. Uh, 6. 7.
Nice day. We miss you. We hope to come to our house soon. Bye. Okay, start over.
8.
Twinkle, twinkle, maybe in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Nine. Ten. 11. 12. Keep wanting to number them. I gotta get a new brush. I'm acting up. What's up? How's it going, Zalik? I'm doing alright. Just doing a more sort of freehand face deal. How are you doing? It's cherry blossom time again in Animal Crossing. I got one recipe, and I sent you the thing that I made with it, the Sakura wood floors, I think. So you can have some pink to match that wallpaper, or the like a pink wall, pink wooden walls. Was the thing my sister has been playing a little bit, and she likes theming the stuff. So like when it was Turkey Day, she made one of her rooms all Turkey Day stuff, and she was like, I was gonna do it with Bunny Day, and I had the like the Bunny Day outfits, so like weird colorful egg things, and she was like, I didn't like it, so I had to take it down. It's like, yeah, they're not the most appealing sort of look to them. Otherwise, just working on stuff. Hope you're doing well. Okay, guys. Move these guys to the side. Stop sticking. Okay. Given that a sec to dry, I'm going to make this slightly better looking. There you go. Slightly better. It's mostly dry. Okay. I don't know if anyone's still watching Zolok, but we got a few pet pictures in the Discord server. A few people uploaded some. There was someone who uploaded one yesterday as the first person to do it, and then a few people followed suit. So there's a few pets in there. My audio is a little quiet, or am I quiet? It might be that I was a little quiet because I'm in the. I can put it a little bit higher, but I risk any time that I like touch things. There's a little red line and get too loud. One. Filters, I can put the gain up a little bit more. Let's see. Gain. I don't want a red line. Let's increase it by 10. It's up to 12 increase. How's that sounding? Okay. Cool. The snowball is at the max. I tend to talk a little bit quieter. Hello, Vinod Kumar. How you doing? If I'm saying your name wrong, apologies. And please correct me. Okay, I'm just going to film this bit. One, two. The audio coming from the cassette tape, I turn it down so I can adjust it a little bit. Oh, did the tape end? No, it's at the tail end though. I'm guessing it's... yeah, there it is. I was like, I'm getting no levels on that. That's because it was the end of the tape. Okay. This next frame is where I have a choice as to whether or not I want to treat this as layering or the idea that these are on the same plane and they can collide. Because this next frame I think I want them to collide. I think it's more interesting. Don't know how clearly it will read, but I'm gonna try. That's what I've been seeing. My dad mentioned that. It was pretty cold. And then I just saw stuff on Twitter that was like folks being like, it's not supposed to be winter. Too cold for the lady. Hope she's staying warm. Peeing indoors. If need be. That's what I usually pee indoors. I'm not peeing outside for the most part. So I don't blame it if Chico's in the same boat. It's been a while since I peed outside. It's been at least a year. Pandemic times have made it so my regularly quite infrequent outdoor urination has just plummeted. I think I peed once outside in NYC, and it was when I was with John. But I really had to go, so I just, I was very anxious about it, but I just kept going because I really had to go. And so it was this weird thing where it's like relief, but also like just a lot of pee happening. But he was the one who initiated, and I was like, oh, you probably really have to go too, but he was done much faster than I was. So, that might have been in Queens. I don't recall. My dad said he had a friend that was like street level. His apartment was, or like basement, so it had a window at street level, and he was in Hoboken, and every weekend people peed on his window, or pretty frequently. Depending on how this goes and how much I do the outlining aspects of this may end up being a one that I fill in the solids digitally. I'm not sure. might make this the last bit for today. Like, just have this guy loop back around here, and then I can revisit this later on and add additional elements if I want. Pull that down a little bit. Alright. How is it? 130? I can do this manually. Just a little. Thanks, Shrappy. Shrapnate. Oh, thank you. I feel like anyway, that's nice. Appreciate it. Oh, time to switch up. Shrapnel catcher. Okay, I was trying to put the 8 in there. And I was like, shrapnel catcher? And I was like, I don't want to say that if it's like you're trying to talk about babies and shrapnel, because it doesn't seem like you should mix those two things together. But it's like an E. Okay. I'm going to finish this and then I'll put a new tape on. Finish this frame. It's moving relatively quickly because it's not large areas to fill. But then it's also slow because my brush is a little bit spritzy. Let's go with the old guy, like the bongo boy. Or talking about shrapnel. Well, this is making me think, what was the last game I played that would have had any sort of shrapnel? And they're grenades. I got one of the Tomb Raider games and played through it, one of the more recent ones. It was fun. A little bit frustrating at times just because there were things where I'm like, this is how it's supposed to work, and then it would be like, yes, but you didn't jump in this right spot, but there are grenades in that. And so got hit by some of those at times. Also, the value of sneaking sort of varies from mission to mission, and so there would be missions where it's like, I'm just shooting folks, and I do fine, and then I do the same thing, and it just happens to be like, for whatever reason, I die a bunch of times. I played Shadow something Tomb Raider. It was on sale, and so I played through it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I was looking for a sort of like puzzle adventure game. And that's true of like any sort of adventure game thing that I've played that has platforming elements and shooting elements, which really I'm just thinking of the Uncharted series, where it's like, this has a puzzle and I understand what the puzzle's supposed to be, but I can't figure out what I'm missing. And part of that frustration is also the fun of those sorts of games, but it's also something like, wait, it just was that I didn't see that I could jump here before. It's not like I didn't solve something or understand conceptually what to do, it's just that I didn't see this thing here. So I still avoid looking up like how to do things until I get particularly frustrated with it. I might replay some Uncharted game at some point. I've replayed them like once or twice. I don't know if Zoc's still watching, but I lent him Uncharted 4 because I got my PS4 later on in its lifetime. Not terribly late, but not immediately, and the one that I got was an Uncharted bundle. And so I played the 4th Uncharted game before I played the first 3, and then I got the first 3 as a bundle for like $20 or something on in the PlayStation store, so I have those locally, but the Uncharted bundle that I got came with a disc, not a download. And so I haven't gone back and played Uncharted 4. Undead Samurai. I've not played that one. The only Tomb Raider game that I've played is Shadow Temple or something like that, or Shadow of the Temple. I'm not sure where that falls chronologically. There were no undead samurai in this one. There were some like human creatures. That were more violent sort of things. I think the first Uncharted has some like undead people. Okay, that's the one right after. Seemed like there were some relationships with that, like, I forget his name, but your friend, that would have had more significance had I played any other game. Because it was just like, that's my friend, Jonah, that's his name. Same feeling when I played Uncharted. When I played Uncharted 4, I was like, if these people seem like they might have more like significance if I had played other games in the series. And then I went back and played them and was like, oh, okay, that's what that was about. I also don't know much about the lore around like Trinity and all that such and such. Last game I played before that was Control, which was free on the PlayStation Network, something or other. Oh, other games that I've played recently. I've been playing Minecraft some more. Bought that after not playing it for like a few years. It's a nice thing to just sort of jump in and out of. It's like playing it survival mode and mining and farming. Been playing Animal Crossing on and off for the last year. I played A Short Hike, I think is what it's called. It's a pretty short game. It's like a indie sort of guy. Not terribly long ago, I realized that there was a Xbox 360 and I got used copies of the first Red Dead Redemption because I played the second one and I was curious about the first. And then I also played Fallout New Vegas for the first time on that platform. And then I started playing Fallout 3, but I didn't get so far into it. I got a little bit into it and then I got distracted. I think it like crashed at some point and I was like, okay. I got distracted by some other game or something. Some project came up and I was like, not as into it, because when I play the Fallout games, I end up playing them for much longer than I think I will. Like each day when I play them. Because I start on one mission and then a side mission comes up and then more side missions and it just compiles. I never played... This is the only Tomb Raider game that I've played at all. In the 90s, I would have been playing some Nintendo 64, some Sega, Super Nintendo, very little bit of Dreamcast. But Nintendo 64 was like my first thing where I put more into it, but that was pretty much Super Smash Brothers, the first one, Super Mario 64. I also played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. Pokemon Snap. What else? Did I say Toy Story 2? I played that one a decent amount. My sister, her game when we first got the console was Yoshi's Story, and so she played that a bit more than me, but I did play it. Maybe I ended up playing it more, but she played it more with the want to play the levels perfectly, which I did not have the patience for, or the technical skill. And I had a GameCube, an Xbox, which I mostly played just by myself. I would play Halo 2 as well as, what else I played? Burnout 3 and 4. I did play through all of Fallout 4 on PS4. I have that on disc. I first played that. I sort of got back into more video games because I dated someone who was more into them, and so it was because of, not, she didn't like tell me to, but it just was a different acceptance and sort of encouragement here and there to play some games. So that's when I got a new Nintendo 3DS XL and was like, admitted to myself, you know what, I enjoyed all the Pokemon games. I can play those as an adult. So I got some of those. There's also Animal Crossing, my introduction into that. Played New Leaf on that console. I've had main consoles, but handhelds felt different, but now it's like sort of one and the same. The console I play most often is my Switch, which is real. Well, this last year I haven't been taking public transit. I've just been at home, but Switch is a nice thing to take on a train. Play a little bit of Stardew Valley or something. Play some Pokemon. Put it to sleep, come back to it later. Games that are better on the train tend to be like platformers or RPGs or turn-based RPGs, because you can sort of pace it a little bit better. You're not like in the middle of a boss battle necessarily. You just sort of like jump and land or take your turn. I got that you were into a little bit more actiony things, or made that little assumption. I play some shooters here and there. I tend to prefer third person just because I like having a wider field of view. I played a whole lot of Star Wars Battlefront 2, but on the original Xbox. And I just was playing it locally. I would do like campaigns and then play those. First person shooters, I don't know the last time I did like a more first person heavy shooter. I did, as a bit of nostalgia, I downloaded and played Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, but that's like the gameplay in that is really focused on the idea of switching between third and first person, that you have advantages in one over the other, where it turns more into a platformer in third person. It's weird jumping back to that game and being like, oh, I remember this looking so much better graphic-wise. Where now it's like almost distracting. Yeah, almost distracting to see the older graphics, but also nostalgic and interesting to see different ways that problems were solved or approached and how that plays out. I guess I like games where I feel like I can run and jump in a way that I probably can't in real life. I can't run and jump in that same way. That's why I like platformers. I also just, I'm not that great at first person shooters. I don't know what it is. I like arcade style video games. Arcade racers and such. When games are like, this is the most realistic thing we've ever done, I'm like, no thanks. Please let me be a cartoon. Why? I know some folks who play COD. I think it would be funnier if there's gotta be someone who's just like done a thing where it's Call of Duty, but it's just a bunch of fish that are cod fish. And reinterpretations based on the secondary title, or the subtitle, whatever you call it. So like, cod, finest hour, and it's just a fish hanging out. That may or may not have something to do with the game itself. It is silly. That's the appropriate adjective for my Call of Duty fan art concept. Make them fish. Yeah, most of the games that I play that have guns, it'll be... Oh, that's the last first-person shooter I played. I played Wolfenstein. I forget which one. Played 2 of them because they were cheap in the PlayStation Store. But those are super arcadey. They are not realistic. But most of the games that I've played that have like actual guns as opposed to like laser guns or something like that tend to have some sort of arcade element or RPG thing where it's not as much centered on the shooting necessarily. So like I played Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's kind of arcade-like, and you can like do slow-mo, stuff like that. It's not trying to be particularly realistic. Deadeye, that's what they call it. I was trying to think, what do they call the thing where you slow down time or you can like tag targets in Red Dead? Deadeye. Red Deadeye. This is the last one to fill in. Then I'll scan these. Edit them a tiny bit digitally and have an animation. What was that thing about? I was thinking about talking to people who are like super into cars and they're real big into Gran Turismo, that sort of thing. And I prefer Burnout, where you just crash and explode and the cars are named like fast car, European car. And it's like obviously based off of something, but they don't have the licensing to put in the actual make and model, which makes sense because the game is about, it's a lot of crashing cars or doing dangerous stunts and crashing other stuff. I played, that was Red Dead Redemption was one that I played on the Xbox 360. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a little less cartoonish. It's still cartoony, but the first one has a little bit more of a Rockstar vibe. A little bit more like a Grand Theft Auto. Sort of culturally. Not that Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't have those elements, but it's a little bit more present in the first one. Playing as John Marsden. To go to Mexico, come back from Mexico. I haven't looked to see if anybody's done like high quality texture packs for. Did that eventually? I'm guessing that's on PC. That Red Dead ended up on PC at some point. I think it started on consoles. I don't remember. I didn't play it when it came out. I also don't play like any games online. Unless it's with a friend. Yeah, well, the last time I was doing anything online in a video game was I visited my sister's island in Animal Crossing because I wanted to buy a painting. She told me that there was a painting available. So I went and got it. That was my multiplayer online gaming experience most recently. And then also Tony Hawk, that remastering, which I'm curious. I've only talked to people who are like my age, late 20s, early 30s, who were like, I'm very excited to play Tony Hawk. And I was curious whether or not that excitement or interest in it translated to people who were like at all younger. And I didn't know, but you're not one who's playing Tony Hawk, it seems like. There's like a Tony Hawk just online rooms where you get paired up with people and they do different game modes. I'm gonna put these down and then I'll answer your question. Take a sip of water. So this is Yasutomo Sumi Ink. See if that gets slightly less blurred. Sumi ink is sort of the general kind of ink. There are a few different brands that make it, but Yasutomo is the most common one. I'll throw that in the chat. Yasutomo Sumi ink. It's a Japanese ink. I like it because it's pretty pigmented, pretty dense. It's a solid black, so it's not perfect. You can paint it a few times and it'll get a darker color to it. But it's better than a lot of other inks. It cleans up nicely from, it looks dirty, but it flakes off. Like you can just sort of wipe it away and it flakes off. Because I just let the ink dry up because now I can afford to have a little wasted ink where before I'd have like a $7 thing that I would suck the ink. That was me using a little plunger syringe thing. Suck up the ink and put it back in the bottle because I'm like, I'm not wasting any. Now I have a little bit of income that I can put towards that. Paper itself is tracing paper. I'm not sure what brand. I just bought a 500 sheet ream of it and works fine. The paper that I buy comes in a larger sheet that's these are cut in half and then I punch holes in them using a 3-hole punch. But the paper is 9 by 12. It's easier to find reams of that, it seems, at a moderate price. Also, when I cut it in half, it gives me just a little bit more. Cut it in half for a few reasons. I cut it in half to save on paper. It makes the paper go twice as far. instead of a 500 ream, I end up with 1,000 sheets. It fits on my flatbed scanner. That is pretty standard. If you get a larger flatbed scanner, larger than like right about letter size, US letter size, 8.5 by 11, if you have anything larger than that to scan on it, it'll either get wrinkled or it won't fit. And if you're buying a larger scanner, the price goes up like 3, 5, 10-fold even, because they're more specialty, larger things. So like the one I have, I think costs like $70, and it does perfectly for what I need to do. But if you get ones that are larger, they tend to be more specialty, more expensive, and just take up more space. So cutting it in half makes it fit in that space. It also is closer in aspect ratio to 16 by 9, which is the most common sort of aspect ratio that I'd be dealing with other than squares. On Instagram is where I upload a lot of things, and you have a little bit of leeway in either direction, but it's pretty close to 16 by 9 in this space, and so I have enough room for the holes to be up top and a little space at the bottom, because when I cut these in half and hole punch them, because I'm doing it manually myself, it means that there's some indiscrepancies, some variations, both in like the length of the paper where the holes punch, and so these aren't perfectly aligned all the time at the bottom end. It's just generally good to give yourself a little bit of buffer for anything that is being cut or scanned or anything really. Anything that exists in a physical space, give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. It's much easier to crop down or cut something away than it is to try and add it back on. So now we're gonna scan. Waiting on scanning, waiting for scanning. Oh, I made this myself. What I did was, when I got my, I'm gonna set this up and then I'll talk, because I can scan more easily and talk than I can prepping stuff for scanning and talking. You don't have to apologize for your spelling. I didn't really notice it, if there was any error happening. Well, it's nice to get to be aware of things, even if I'm not. Okay, choose here. Do not want this 1200 DPI, not a custom size. Okay. Yeah, so I made this, I bought this flat panel just on Amazon. It's a 12 by 12, so I knew it would fit the standard sheets of paper that I had. And then I got a high capacity, it's not terribly high capacity, but more robust hole punch. Punched the hole into some paper, taped that down onto this little panel, and then drilled holes into it using newsprint. Is super cheap if you're getting it in large quantities. It's not as transparent as tracing paper. And it'll bleed a bit. It's also non-archival. So if you're looking to store it for extended periods of time, it might yellow and get a little bit wrinkly in a different way. Depending on what tracing paper you buy, it may or may not be archival. Also, I got a pretty inexpensive drill kit for putting pegs into like furniture building. So it came with a 1/4-inch drill bit that had a limiter on it, like a little thing that you could slide on, like a washer that you could tighten. It's a little bit more robust than that. And that was nice. But you could also get away with just having a 1/4-inch drill bit and some tape or something like that. And then I wanted to get slightly longer pegs than what comes with like stuff for furniture to reinforce joints. And so I bought just some dowel rods that are 1/4-inch and cut it down, because you can get, I still have a bunch of them. It was like a couple bucks for like 12-inch dowel rods. Sanded them down a little bit. That'll help with putting on and taking off the paper, so it wasn't as harsh of an edge, so that it sort of falls onto it. If you're concerned with having cheap paper and willing to put more money into the hole punch, you can buy an Acme hole punch, but those run like $200. It's a little bit of work, but it's so I can do custom stuff more cheaply. It wasn't a terrible amount of work. I did it in a little bit of time. Most of the time was waiting for it to dry. But I'm also someone who prefers to make things myself, even if it ends up costing more, both in time and labor and materials. Just because I'm like, it's not that, I would rather make my own. Yeah, so those can be like $200. This one was like $35 maybe. I think it might have been less, I don't know, but it works well. It's just a 40 sheet capacity Bostitch. It works. I would not suggest doing 40 pieces of paper whenever you're using it. You can, but you have to put a lot of pressure, and you end up pushing on the paper more if you're dealing with fewer sheets of paper. So because the hole punch itself sort of, to help with cutting into it, the hole punch isn't like a flat cylinder, it's curved, so it has like an edge and pushes into it, so the edge of it sort of looks like that. And with that, if you have a bunch of paper in there, you sort of push down on the paper here, and it creates little divots, and it can distort the paper a little bit. And so if you do have like a 40 sheet hole punch and you just need to punch the holes and it doesn't matter as much about accuracy, that's fine. But because I want it to be a little bit more accurate, what I end up doing is just using like 20 sheets at a time, and it works a bit better. So that's just my suggestion if you're going that route. You can also get like a cheaper hole punch and just punch it and leave it clipped in, if it's one that's like just folds down onto it. I've seen some folks who do that. Rename these 12 items. You should really be called something different, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be 5 faces, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I need to rename this. 5 faces. Rename, desktop. I counted wrong. Okay, now let's come here. Okay, I wasn't actually sure if I had anything open in Photoshop. Scripts, load files into stack, browse, more designs, 402, 5 faces, grab these, load them up. As that's happening, that away. This is, yeah, back in my pocket. This is 4/02/2021. 5 faces animation 12 frames. I get to put this guy in here. If you're animating in a way that requires more accuracy, it might be worthwhile to get a slightly more accurate system than what I use, because something like the Acme hole punch, those give you a slightly better alignment. Let's see if I'm from here. Yeah, down here. So where I have just 2 circles and the pages go around those circles a little bit. It looks like, oops. There's a little bit of shifting area back and forth. It would be better if you had all 3 hole punches, but what Acme stuff does, because then you have an additional point and there's less ability for the paper to shake. The Acme hole punches, I believe it's sort of like that, and because these are more elongated, the movement isn't in all directions, it's limited in sort of like 2 directions. So if you're doing animation that's super accurate or something like that, you might be better off investing in an Acme hole punch. Depends on what your overall goals are and such. I also don't know how robust the hole punch is with those, how many pages you can do at any given time. That's not what I want to do. I want to make frames from layers. 1 second. Reverse frames. It's 1080. Give it a moment. Save this out. Initializing video export. This is stills, select folder, sounds, choose that spot. I've had some bad registration in the past and I end up having to align it piece by piece by piece by piece, because I just would like draw it or have it loosely taped on top or something like that. Didn't go great, but that's what I did. And then I did more where I'd line it up from the corner that I'd be scanning it. Did a little bit better as I was more cautious with that. Using binder clips and masking tape, those helped. And then this is decent, but not perfect. And it's okay with my animation sort of style. but if you're trying to get more accuracy out of it, it might be worthwhile to invest in something else. Oh, is this gonna load up? How's this gonna go? I didn't want to increase the size. Yeah, cancel. Okay. I wanted to get 1080, but it was slow reacting on stuff. Okay, let's save these out. I forgot to increase the contrast. Darken things a bit. So let's actually jump out here and delete that. And just paste that in there. Give it a moment. Okay. This is 1080. Alright. Now let's put this down. Push that out. Let's see how it did. I'm gonna see it when you guys see it. Designs, Quarter 2. Come in here to get the naming convention. Save that out. See how it is. Turn this off, switch out the image. And that's fun. It's fun to watch the face as it goes along. It's a little bit confusing with that movement across the side because it pushes, but it's a fun thing. I could deal with getting this with better clarity. But it's fun. I enjoy smears. While I'm thinking about it, let's come in here and draw a little guy that represents this. There's that guy. I'm gonna mute this for a moment. What does this guy look like here? It's okay. It's elongated this way. And what is today? Today is 04/02/2021. 5 faces I mix together when I write with capital and lowercase lettering. grab one of these guys. Fold it up. Put it away. And grab this guy. What does this look like in the thing? Open up this guy. Put this guy away. So now there are 5 in there. 5 designs. One of which I will pull out tomorrow and make that design available on a t-shirt. Okay, I'll zoom this guy back out. See the animation again and do my spiel. Links. So, if you want to buy those stills that I did today, the t-shirt that will be available tomorrow, or other t-shirt designs, as well as various merchandise and stills from previous streams, things like that, you can go to traceloops.com/store and find a variety of merchandise available for purchase. If you want to watch this stream in full, previous streams, as well as some other YouTube videos, you can go to youtube.com/traceloops. That's my channel there. And there's a bunch of live streams if you want to go back, skip through them, just see process. And then I also do some time-lapse stuff pretty regularly. You can also just search for Trace Loops and should pop up. If you want to follow me on other platforms, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Both those places I am Trace Loops. Trace Loops pretty much everywhere except Twitter, where someone took it. And I tried to file a complaint, and they were like, nah. So you can do that. If you want to make a purchase and have it shipped outside of the US, you can email me, traceloops@traceloops.com. You can also email me with questions, curiosities, concerns, commissions, etc. And all that jazz, hands, all that jazz. You can go there and email me. You can also, if you want to, join my Discord server where I do reminders of live streams coming up, posts of available artwork for purchase, daily artwork, well, week daily artwork, and more recently some people are posting some pet pictures, which is nice. Just a little bit there. That link is in the chat now. If not, it's there, but it's a bunch of digits and letters, so I'm not saying that out loud because it doesn't help and it doesn't communicate well. Anyway, appreciate you all for watching. Today is Friday, which means it's the weekend, which means I will not be streaming tomorrow or Sunday, but be back Monday, and hope you guys have a good weekend. I will be tomorrow on Instagram, and then I'll post about it on Discord. Be doing the drawing from the vending machine, the gumball machine, to see what shirt design of the week comes up. And it can be anything that exists in there. I only started putting them in there as of last week, and so there's like 5 odd designs in there, I believe. And so whatever you... those are the 5 that are available to maybe be thrown in there. All the other designs from previous things were up at some point in time or have been taken down since. Anyway, so you can follow on Instagram to see that drawing. Appreciate you for watching. Be back on Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, that's all. Hope you have a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Adios.